it looks like Prince Harry's decided once again on a new career path. Will it be a path though that will come, well, literally beating at his door? Because this time around it is part of an already signed and sealed deal. You see, when you look back, even though people might say it wasn't for them, his own book Spare did become an international bestseller. And as I told you many times here on the show, it was very difficult for Penguin Random House to actually get any of their money back because they literally paid so much in an advance and a huge amount of money to Prince Harry's ghostwriter. For those that don't know what a ghostwriter is, it's basically where you sit down, you tell them their story and they put it into words for a very large fee. Now, as we've seen with this particular ghostwriter, they didn't always see eye to eye, but eventually they got the story out there and Penguin Random House got a lot of publicity. At a cost, of course. They had to get rid of quite a few authors and quite a few staff in cost cutting. This is how it works. But you see, cast your mind back. Prince Harry has a deal for 4 books. That's right, 4 books. And as well as topping up his best-selling memoir, Spare, he's got another plan. And this is it. As ever, let me explain. Hi, good morning. How are you? Nice to see you. By the way, are you a living doll? Yes, I can see you. Well, you're almost living, aren't you? We're almost awake at this point, aren't we? You know, we're talking about, of course, the classic Cliff Richard song, Living Doll, which was a mega hit way back. Oh, we won't even say the period now. It seems a long time ago. Now, if you have an original 78 version of that, don't pretend you don't know what 78s are. Everybody remembers buying 78s because what was the tricky bit? You see, you bought it from the shop and then you had to be careful, didn't you, getting on the bus or the tram or whatever, the train, because if somebody banged into you, crack. And that was the end of Cliff, wasn't it, you know? Also, big sellers right now, which are worth a lot of money on online sites, are things like Brenda Lee. I think it's Brenda Lee, Sweet Nothings. Is that right? Absolutely. One of those cracking singers that really has been, I think, forgotten, but what a great voice she had. Do check out, you know, you might be sitting on a fortune, and in this cost of living crisis, every penny counts, as that famous supermarket says. Back as ever to your royal story. Now, what's interesting here, as I say, with Prince Harry, you know, desperate times and all that sort of stuff, you know, they're kind of thinking, well, what else can they get for this 4-book deal? And Prince Harry needs this 4-book deal because they need the money. You know, Harry and Meghan still need a revenue stream. As we've seen with the Spot of Ideal going missing, and after 12 episodes, people were bored rigid with Meghan's mutterings about what she was wanting to do rather than the guests. I did find it quite funny with all of the guests. Nobody really got a word in, did they? You're thinking a bit like you, Neil, aren't you? But you know what I mean? Nobody got a word in. Now, what's interesting, according to a well-placed source at Penguin Random House, Prince Harry's had an idea, a whole one. Yes, he's had this idea about creating his own novel. Move over Agatha Christie, shake J.K. Rowling. Apparently, you see, he feels a little bit inspired. Now, I wonder whether he's got this idea from another celebrated royal author, Sarah, Duchess of York. She's done incredibly well with her historical novels. And according to that well-placed source, Prince Harry feels he could get elements of his story hidden away through a novel. You get the picture? And this, of course, would mean part of the remit of forfeiting at least 3 of the books that would be required in the 4-book deal, meaning more money. Now, what's happening so far, and this is the bit that we can tell you that we know so far, is that this is at the very initial stages, and they quite like the idea. I mean, many people would still buy a product simply because it has Prince Harry's name on. It would never fly off the shelves like Spare, but consequently they feel then they've got a library, a back catalogue of work from a former member of the British monarchy. And for this, Harry wouldn't have to think too hard about his own ancestral history. He could simply look in their history books and rewrite it. They're quite good at that, aren't they? Neil Sean in the very heart of London.